How's it going, guys? Football-ManagerYouthDevelopment.co.uk here. In this episode, we're going to take a look at what preferred moves you should pick for your players on Football Manager. It was about a year ago I made a video on how you select a preferred move for your players, but in this episode I want to take a look at what preferred moves you should pick for your players and what influence this might have upon the tactics that you're making for your team. If this is the first time you're watching a video on the channel and you are looking for Football Manager tips, please do subscribe to the channel, as this channel is all about giving you as much information about how you can play Football Manager. Okay, so to kick this video off, there's going to be a couple of pages that are going to be key for us to take a look at, but I think the first page or screen to take a look at is going to be the tactics screen. So the tactics that you set up for your team are going to have a massive influence on exactly what preferred moves you would prefer for your players to have. If you have a look at your tactics and how you want to play, now every single person who plays Football Manager is going to be completely different. Personally, what I'm going to do, guys, is just speak you through the type of tactics that I like to have, and then what I might do is just tell you exactly what preferred moves that you could set up for your players just to influence how your tactics work. So let's just have a look here. So at the moment I'm using Kante as an advanced playmaker. Now the idea with the advanced playmaker on the support function is that he's basically going to be dropping into the holes between the opposition's midfield and defence. And what he's basically going to be doing is he's going to be sitting back, and as it says here at the bottom, he's going to be spraying passes to the support players and the forwards. So as you can imagine, Kante, if he's got the ball here, what he's going to be doing is just going to be having a look around, and what he's going to be doing is taking a look at the run of Hazard, seeing if Pedro is free, seeing if Fabregas is making a good move, or if Diego Costa is able to get on the end of a through ball that he might be able to make. He could also potentially get a little bit of support from the fullbacks here. If you imagine that Marcos Alonso and Azpilicueta might be here on either wing, and obviously Kante, if he's got the ball and he's sitting a little bit deeper, then he could look for a pass to these two guys as well. Now what basically happens with this formation when we're attacking, if you imagine Cesc Fabregas is going to be a little bit more further forward, Eden Hazard is probably going to be pushing forward to say like this position, or maybe just a little bit deeper to here as an inside forward, and this is basically going to be the setup of where all my players are going to be. So if you like, with the advanced playmaker role, Kante is going to be a little bit of a basically going to be a little bit of a quarterback, if you can think about it in American football. So he's going to have the ball here, and he's just going to have all these different options in which to pass the ball to. So just with this kind of tactic that I've got set up here, you can definitely think about a few different ways or sort of preferred moves that you might want to have for your players. So for Kante here, you might want to make him learn the preferred move of likes to switch the ball to the opposite flank. So if we pretend that Kante was out here, if you did see that Azpilicueta was free on the other flank, then maybe you might want him to play a nice little ball here. You might want Kante to have the preferred moves of likes to play through balls often. Quite obviously, Diego Costa is going to be sort of running around and just trying to find space. So for Kante to have a preferred move of likes to play through balls often, that might be quite a good one, because he'll obviously have the ball in this position. He'll be kicking it through to Diego Costa, and he'll be basically looking for the runs of Diego Costa. What you might also want him to do is to just hold up the ball a little bit more often, maybe just to kind of see what's going on around him. Having a think about the other preferred moves of some of your players. So you did see that I was using Eden Hazard as an inside forward. Now what Eden Hazard is going to be doing, he's obviously going to be predominantly out on the wing, but what he's going to be doing is going to be cutting in across. I think potentially Eden Hazard has got the preferred move already. So yeah, he does like to run with the ball often, which is a good one to have. Another one that I would probably look for Eden Hazard to get is looks to cut inside with the ball. So again, if you imagine that Kante's got the ball in the middle of the pitch, what he could do is pass it out wide to Eden Hazard, and then as soon as Eden Hazard gets the ball, if you have got him trained with the preferred move of likes to cut inside with the ball, then what he's going to be doing is just running into this space here, or potentially kind of moving forward into that position there. Now with the dribbling skills of someone like Eden Hazard and his pace and flair and etc., it's going to be quite a good idea to make the most out of his key attributes. And if you do give him a preferred move where he is going to be cutting inside, that's certainly going to be making the most of his tactics or his better attributes. Likewise, for example, on the wings, we do know that Pedro is going to be sort of a fairly decent winger. He's not exactly too good at crossing, but he has got good acceleration. He has got pretty good dribbling and flair skills. So quite a good thing, again, for him would be to run with the ball often. So luckily for me, Pedro does actually have this as a preferred move already, and he does like to run with the ball often. But if you pretend that he doesn't have that as a preferred move, what I would be doing, a tricky little winger like Pedro, I would certainly be training him to get that preferred move, so that when he does get that, when he does get the ball on the wing, what he'll be doing is just looking to run with it as often as possible. Now that's going to be quite a good thing for him to do as well. Likewise with Cesc Fabregas. Now I do think Cesc Fabregas is going to be a great player to have, like, kind of pushing forward exactly in that position where he is here. So if we again have a look at the traits of Cesc Fabregas, we can see that he likes to come deep to get the ball. He likes to dictate the tempo. The key one for me here is that he likes to arrive late in the opposition area. So again, if I took it back to my kind of standard formation, just these guys kind of moving back here, what is basically going to be happening if Kante picks up the ball here? Let's say Kante passes the ball out wide to Pedro on the wing. Now what's going to be happening is Fabregas is going to be bursting forward here. Pedro knows that he's going to be able to basically get across into the area, and what he's going to have Eden Hazard probably on the back post because he's an inside forward. He's going to have Diego Costa in the middle, and he's probably going to have Cesc Fabregas, who's going to be arriving late in the opposition area, just to try and get on the end of the ball as well. So Pedro's got some pretty good options in the middle for him to be able to cross the ball to. Now, without that preferred move of arrives late in the opponent's area, what Cesc Fabregas might be doing, he might have already just bombed forward into this position, or he might be a little bit further back in play here. Now, Pedro, because we are asking him to run with the ball often, he's obviously going to be bombing it up and down the wing here. Now, if he crosses the ball and Cesc Fabregas is a little bit behind play or further forward, there's not really going to be anyone on the edge of the area to try and pick up the ball and to try and make the most of a situation that might be developing. So you can get a really good picture of how the player traits that you set up for your players are going to be able to influence the tactics that you create for your team, and how it can influence the sort of results that you're getting from your tactics as well. Likewise, if you've got a fairly decent sort of attacking player, so a media description, say like an attacking fullback, again, it looks like quite a lot of the Chelsea players have actually got player traits that I would like them to have anyway, but the player trait of gets forward whenever possible is certainly something that I would be looking for from Marcos Alonso. I highlighted it earlier that I would like him to push forward as much as possible, just because Eden Hazard is going to be an inside forward, he's going to be pushing there, and basically we need Marcos Alonso to be kind of running up and down that wing as much as possible. Now, once Marcos Alonso has got the player trait of likes to gets forward whenever possible, he's going to be doing that a lot more. So if we pretend that he is back here, if he didn't have the player trait of gets forward whenever possible, he might be a little bit more reluctant in actually moving further forward. So he might kind of move up to here, or he might be a little bit more hesitant in actually moving forward. Obviously, because he has got the player trait of moves forward whenever possible, he's going to be kind of more willing to get down to the wing. And of course, you've got them other options as well. So if we pretend that Marcos Alonso's got the ball up here, he's then got the option potentially, so Pedro's going to be on the back post, Eden Hazard on the near post, Diego Costa and Fabregas in the middle. So you can see all these different options that Marcos Alonso has got now that he wants to cross the ball, and the fact that he has got that player trait of gets forward whenever possible, it means that you're basically giving him the license to kind of move forward, and that he is more than willing to kind of move forward. So once you've actually taken a look at your tactics and you think you know exactly what preferred moves you would like your players to have just to influence the way that they're kind of working and performing, it's certainly going to be a good idea to just take a look at their attributes. So if we take a look at the attacking attributes, for example, actually, let's have a look at the physical attributes. Now, obviously, Chelsea players are pretty fit players. They're kind of like naturally fit players and things like that. But if we took a look at Marcos Alonso, for example, and we were telling him to get forward whenever possible, let's pretend Marcos Alonso's stamina was only 5, for example. This can obviously happen when you're managing a lower league team. You might have some player attributes that are not going to be as good as others. So for this just real quick example, let's imagine that you did want Marcos Alonso to get forward as quickly, as much as possible, but he did have the stamina attribute of 5. Now, it's not going to be very sensible to make him learn the player trait of gets forward whenever possible, because simply after maybe 45 minutes of trying to get up and down the pitch, with his stamina attribute of only 8, he's going to be absolutely knackered and he's pretty much going to be completely ineffective. There's quite a lot of different things that you can actually do. So for example, if you had a look at the attacking attributes as well, and you had a look at the dribbling attributes. Now let's pretend we had a player like Azpilicueta, for example. Now, we do know that we probably want Azpilicueta to get down the wings as often as possible, but we don't necessarily want him dribbling with the ball that often. You can see that he's got a dribbling attribute of 10, and we can see that he's got a flair attribute of 8. So in terms of actually dribbling with the ball, it's not something that Azpilicueta is going to be very good at. So what you might decide to do with Azpilicueta is to just basically teach him not to run with the ball as often as possible. Now, in terms of tactics, what you could do, you could go to player. You can basically add a player. So if we added in Azpilicueta, for example, we do know that his dribbling is not very good and his flair is not very good either. So for Azpilicueta, you might tell him to dribble less with the ball. Now, what basically is going to happen here is going to be asking him to pass the ball a little bit more. He's not going to be looking to beat the opposition by trying to dribble around them and take them on. That type of thing is not going to be very good. Of course, as well, so if you take a look at Azpilicueta's passing attribute, his crossing attribute, and his vision attribute, they're 10, 10 and 9. Of course, that's not very good for a Premier League player at all. So what you might also do for Azpilicueta is ask him to take fewer risky passes. What he's going to be doing is just looking for more sensible passes, and I think that's going to be a very good thing for Azpilicueta to do. Obviously, if you're asking him to do take fewer riskier passes, what might be quite a good thing for Azpilicueta to do, or like a preferred move to train him, is to play more simple passes. Obviously, Azpilicueta is not very good at crossing. His passing is not exactly good. So what you could do, even though Azpilicueta could be bombing forward into this position here, you don't necessarily want him crossing the ball often because his crossing attribute is not very good. And you don't exactly want him running with the ball either. So what you could do is just have a player like Matic, who's just in the central midfield position. And what you could do is what you could do is teach Azpilicueta to pass the ball short. So what he's going to be doing is looking for Matic. He might look for Cesc Fabregas, or he might look for Pedro, who is down the wing. Now, the beauty of just allowing him to do that's going to be more effective for your tactics, and you're not, Azpilicueta's weaknesses are not going to be exposed because you're not asking him to dribble. You're not asking him to do anything special with his passing. You're basically telling him to give the ball to someone else who is basically better at passing. So if you take a look at a player like Nemanja Matic, for example, he's got a passing attribute of 15, he's got vision of 15, decision making and anticipation of 14, and you can see that he likes to try killer balls often as well. So why would you want Azpilicueta playing a killer ball when you've got someone like Matic who is more capable of doing that type of thing? You might as well just teach Azpilicueta to pass the ball short into a player like Matic, and then let a player like Matic, who's a lot better at passing and who's already got a preferred move of likes to play killer balls often, to actually do the passing rather than Azpilicueta. I'm going to call this the end of this episode, guys, just because, kind of rambling a little bit. But yeah, if you have found this video interesting and it's helped you out, do leave some comments below. Like I said at the beginning, do subscribe to the channel if you're looking for some Football Manager tips and guides. And yeah, see you very soon for the next instalment of our Football Manager videos. Thanks for watching.